This is something that most people have a real fear over if their site has this information. Often it'll come during an upgrade, update, or something similar on our plugins. How can we resolve it? Well, there is a way of resolving it. We can go into what's called cPanel, and we can go to something called File Manager, which is here. File Manager then takes us into the options of our plugins, etc. In this instance, it's going to be the shop that we're looking at, and then we can find, if we look in WP Content, this particular box here will provide us with something called the plugins. Here we can safely edit by renaming it. Just take off the plug, for example, to there, and rename the file. Okay, so this has an important connotation. I'm going to just pause it for a second to double check everything is correct as we proceed. You'll remember that the initial line of shop dot had a critical error. I've taken you into the file manager, as we saw a short while back, and from file manager I've changed the word to plug. From plug I can go into the shop.fairytraining admin, which has allowed me back into it, and you'll see something interesting. Within the plugin section you'll see all these things in theory don't exist, which is interesting because it then allows us to look behind the scenes at the files where we might have the problem. How can we do that? Right, okay, we know we've got access to this area here and we know we've got access to behind the scenes within cPanel, the actual plugins themselves, where potentially there's an issue. Now, what I've done is I'm going to actually just take off some of these plugins that I don't potentially need at this stage, and I'm going to just reduce it down to what's absolutely needed at this particular point in time. So as you can see, I've deleted quite a lot of key areas. Now this particular instance, we have one plugin here called Elementor that's not running on Pro, which ideally should be for the other areas. This may well be the problem. So what we're going to do in this instance is I'm going to basically make some alterations on that particular plugin. So that's the key bit of information. So I am now going to change our the word, which is going up a level. So you have to go up a level here to actually get it to there. You change it by a right mouse click, and we can not do that, but we're actually looking to rename. And there's the plugins word. We rename the file, and again I will just pause the video so that we can test the results. So I've changed the plugins on this particular site. I now go directly into here and you can see the plugins have returned. Critical thing here is if we look at the site itself, we have the site back to normal, critical error is over. We would now look at updating the software, the plugins themselves, to ensure that we identify the plugin where the issue is. In this particular instance, I know that we actually have one little issue. We're not using the Pro version of Elementor, which could be the issue. Ladies and gentlemen, so you can see how you can go from the critical error back to the live site. Thank you very much indeed for watching this particular video.